My next patron question is from Robert, who wants to know my history with two popular franchises that started in the 90s. What are your thoughts on these two highly popular franchises, Power Rangers and Pokemon? Both of these franchises have many similarities, as both made their debuts in the 1990s and were worldwide phenomena that took the world by storm. They were practically everywhere, had many different seasons over the years, and while Pokemon seems to be a little bit more respected between the two, as Power Rangers gets looked down on at times, it still has a strong following. With all that out of the way, what are your experiences and history with both of these IPs, and which one were you more familiar with? My history with these franchises is quite interesting, as even though I was the right age to be taken in by them when they premiered and became huge successes, I did not get into either of them. Even at a young age, there was not much that enchanted me about the Power Rangers. The glimpses I caught of the show, it just looked to me like a bunch of teenagers in colorful suits fighting monsters, and well, that's exactly what it was. I mostly just stuck to my favorite cartoons and did not pay much attention to Power Rangers. I ended up catching a bit of it again years later after Disney acquired the series and started airing episodes on that Saturday morning block on ABC, but my opinions stayed the same and I changed the channel. Obviously, the very things that did not interest me about the Power Rangers were the very things that made them popular with other viewers my age, as well as generations who caught later seasons. I did not look at Power Rangers again until the Lionsgate movie was released in 2017. Funnily enough, you would think that movie attempting to take the series a bit more seriously would help me enjoy it. Instead, I thought the filmmakers took the material too seriously and felt it could have been goofier. The closest it got to that was Elizabeth Banks' performance as Rita Repulsa and a running joke about Krispy Kreme. Although I don't know how you play a character like Rita Repulsa as anything but goofy. No sequels were produced, so I once again went back to not thinking about Power Rangers. However, as part of a goal I made to try and watch every feature film on Disney Plus in chronological order, I watched the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers movie a few years ago. Well, as someone with no particular attachment to the series, I guess it was not too surprising I did not find much enjoyment in this movie. It was clearly made exclusively for fans of the television show, with no attempt to appeal to outsiders, which, fair enough. I thought the main Power Rangers were largely devoid of interesting or individual personalities, and the script was filled with corny jokes and other ridiculous moments. I did really like Paul Freeman as the villain Ivan Ooze, as he's clearly having a ball of a time. But otherwise, there was not much in the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers movie that appealed to me, and unless its sequel gets out to Disney Plus at some point, that might be the last time I ever watch anything in the franchise. As for Pokemon, I was very aware of how popular it was, as the trading cards and other children playing the Game Boy games were unavoidable on the schoolyard. However, much like with Power Rangers, the franchise just failed to attract my interest, including the few times I caught a bit of the television show. The series just felt like a bunch of monsters fighting each other while big-eyed children watched on. Although again, Pokemon was so inescapable in the late 90s and 2000s, even I can name Pikachu and Ash and Meowth. I feel like even the franchise's biggest detractors can admit that designers of the various Pokémon monsters did a good job of making them distinct, and many of them even had a cute design. I mean, come on, just look at Squirtle. I do have to confess that Pokemon did admittedly cloud my judgment on Japanese animation for several years, as I just assumed most Japanese animation just consisted of characters with big eyes and monsters fighting. It probably did not help that shows like Digimon and Yu-Gi-Oh! Also became popular around that time, and that was the sort of Japanese anime that often aired on children's networks. It was not until I saw Spirited Away and was blown away by it that I realized there was more to Japanese animation than I initially stereotyped it as. For curiosity's sake, I did decide to watch Pokemon the first movie several years ago, and I hated it. Like the Power Rangers movie, it's not exactly friendly to newcomers, although the real blame for my lack of enjoyment might be the English dub, which was filled with eye-rolling jokes and terrible dubbing. There was also a moral at the end about how fighting is bad, even though this is a franchise about monsters fighting, and then they erase everyone's memories because, well, Ash and his friends still have to want their Pokemon to battle in future adventures. This is apparently different from the movie's Japanese ending, though. I did not pay attention to Pokemon again until the release of the Detective Pikachu movie. I gave it a chance, and it did not do much for me, although I did think it did an impressive job of translating the characters into a live-action environment, especially my man Squirtle. I mean, just look at him. Overall, neither Power Rangers nor Pokemon are franchises I have particular affinity towards. Maybe I would feel different if they appealed to me back in the 90s the same way other children of my generation were enchanted by them, but I tended to watch more Disney and Warner Brothers shows at the time. Thank you for your question, Robert.